Hi, welcome to Kristie and Christina's Creepy Crypt Show. Today we're going to be reviewing a toy out of my personal collection, the Mars Attacks Martian Ambassador. Today we're reviewing Movie Masterpiece Series MMS 108, the Mars Attacks Martian Ambassador by Hot Toys. So let me start off by saying there is absolutely no hot toy like a Tim Burton Hot Toy. This figure is one of two figures released for the Mars Attacks line by Hot Toys. There was this, the Martian Ambassador, and they also released a Martian soldier. The biggest difference between the two is this one comes with a jacket, the other one does not. As always, before we get into talking about the figure, let's take a moment to talk about his box, what he arrived in. The front of the box is very different for a Hot Toys box. It's very similar to the baby doll box in that you can see an image of the figure in the corner and then it's open up on top. There is no outer cover for this. This is the entire box. With that said, I don't think the box makes a display piece for the simple fact that you can't really see the figure and all of its fine detailing inside the box. And it's pointless to display because once the figure is out of the box, you just have this empty packaging essentially. The front of the box is really nice though. They have an image of the actual figure and then it says Martian Ambassador 1/6 scale collectible figure, Mars Attacks by Hot Toys, Movie Masterpiece line. The side of the box talks about all the little fun features it has, such as the movable jaw and tongue, the movable eyes, and once again you have the Mars Attacks logo on the very top. The back we have all of our artists, the Mars Attacks Martian Ambassador figure, as well as the background that comes with the figure. Side shows 13 points of articulation and the removable helmet and once again the logo. Here is the Martian Ambassador in a shell. Something I wanted to point out, when you remove this figure, you must take the background back out of the box with the figure. If you just try to force the figure to come out, you end up damaging the display piece, which is all of the alien heads. You must take it out because the Martian Ambassador's coat is actually attached to the back of the packaging. So make sure you slide that detailing insert out with the actual shell or else you're going to damage your packaging. Here he is with his accessories. You have his removable helmet, the figure itself, a ray gun, and 4 extra set of hands as well as his stand. The figure itself is stunning. I can see why it goes for such a high price. Stand itself is a standard black base with the Mars Attacks logo and the figure name, the Martian Ambassador. The top of the stand is a little different. Instead of the standard crotch grabber, it actually goes around his waist, and that is because the figure is 1/6 scale. You don't have to worry about the U-base damaging the actual abdomen area because the actual abdomen area is made out of plastic instead of rubber like the arms and the legs. I have 2 big complaints with this figure. One of my first complaints is that the arms are not connected very well to the figure itself. They are just ball and socket joints, and the actual arm seems to fall off, and the figure can just be sitting there and all of a sudden the arm falls off. This is common, it happens all the time. However, with this being said, it's kind of a bonus because the figure is made out of rubber, and I would hate for the shoulder blades when posing it to deteriorate away. I will say that it is quite easy to pose the figure in a shooting pose, and you don't have to worry about the arm ever falling down because it is on that ball joint, the ball and socket. It will stand perfectly out straight. The only thing you have to worry about is the arm itself actually falling off. I have heard and I have seen other collectors' elbow joints on these figures go destroyed and just be bad. I have heard and I have seen images of Mars Attacks Hot Toys rubber deteriorating. The best thing to combat this would just be simply don't bend the elbows, don't bend the knees. The figure has 13 points of articulation, and while you can bend the elbows, I would actually suggest bending more at the upper arm. You can turn and rotate that. So rotate that. Don't rotate and bend the actual elbow. Same thing can be said with the feet. There is absolutely no need to bend these knees. I've had this figure for a little over a year. He does not have to stay in a static pose because there are other points of articulation, such as his ankles and that part on the upper arm. The cape is quite nice, and it has a few wired areas so you can pose it exactly how you want it and make him look as sinister or as polite as you would like. It can actually be taken apart into 3 different pieces, which is really nice because once again, you can lay it any way you'd like. You can have it in a motion effect, or you can have it laying flat as if you were standing still. The cape is gorgeous, and I have absolutely no complaints about it. I have heard collectors complain that glitter and sparkles end up all over your home. I have had this figure for a little over a year now, and I have yet to have any glitter, and I've yet to see any glitter in his display area. Even while creating this review, I had absolutely no problem with glitter getting on my hands or on the white carpet, as you can see below. The only complaint I have about the cape is it is so long that when he's on it, you really can't see his stand. Here are a few close-ups with his cape off, so you can get an idea of what he looks like if you ever want to display him this way. My other huge complaint about this figure is his removable helmet. The removable helmet is a pain to get on. When I first got this figure and I was putting the helmet on, I was afraid I was going to break it. As you know, Hot Toys can be very delicate, and shutting the helmet is very, very hard. While it looks like there's a little bit of room underneath the chin and at the back of the head, there's not. The helmet makes it impossible to have the alien's jaw open with the helmet on. This means there's no need to have the movable jaw or the movable tongue if I can't have the helmet on. My camera captures it really well, and while it looks a little cartoonish because I have a whole bunch of lights on, it's actually really, really nice, and it has a really creepy vibe when it just sits in its display position. Here he is next to DX09, just because I wanted to show you what he looks like next to another Burton Hot Toy, and you can definitely see the size difference here. As you know, the Martians in the film were shorter than your average people, so here's a good example of just how short he is compared to another figure. And of course I went with DX09, another Burton Hot Toy. And here he is with the new larger figures we're seeing, such as the Captain Americas and the Man of Steel, and probably the new Batman line. He's about half the size of Man of Steel. This is personally one of my favorite Hot Toys and one of the most detailed figures I have ever owned. As I said earlier at the beginning of the review, there is absolutely no Hot Toy like a Tim Burton Hot Toy. Another favorite of mine is DX09, the 1989 Batman. There's a little bit of a playfulness that goes into Burton movies, and that is definitely captured in the 1/6 scale world perfectly by Hot Toys. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more 1/6 scale reviews.